Do you know how to report and detect a gas leak? Columbia Gas cares about your safety. So if you smell a sulfur-like rotten egg odor, please stop what you're doing, leave the area immediately, and call 911 and Columbia Gas. For more safety information, visit ColumbiaGasOhio.com/stay safe.
Thunderstruck. Adjective. Shocked and amazed by the power of carnival fun. It's what happens when you ride Bolt, the world's first seacoaster. When you island hop till you drop.
Thunderstruck!
When you book 4 massages back to back. Back to back. Get Thunderstruck starting at $289. Carnival. Choose fun. Cruises are in U.S. dollars per person, double occupancy. Taxes, fees, and port expenses additional. Restrictions apply. Full details on carnival.com. Ships registry, Bahamas, Panama.
Welcome to the Boneyard with Steve Robertson. As always, I am your good friend and host, Steve Robertson, here on the Maroon Friday edition of the Yard. It is the beginning of college baseball season. We have waited a long time for this, but at the same time, it feels like just yesterday that we won a national championship. That never gets old. We're still celebrating, and we'll celebrate for a few minutes on Friday, and then we're going to begin the journey to Omaha in earnest. I'm excited about it. I know you guys are as well. We're going to preview Long Beach State later in the show. Excited about it, to say the least. I want to give you guys an update, too, a dog pile shipping update. As you guys are aware, we identified a problem on Monday. I want to give you a little backstory on this because I believe in full transparency. So I went down there and signed, I guess, about 3,500 books. Down there is Madison. Back right after the books were delivered 2 weeks ago today. Went down there, spent the weekend signing books, and then next thing you know, we get those things in the mail, and I started getting a few messages from you guys. Now, you always get some of that. There's always some of that. People are eager. People have waited a long time, and they haven't gotten their books yet. And so there's just some of that, and you start thinking, well, that's just kind of part of the process. We did all the, Flim Flam, Stark Villains, Alpha Dogs. There's always a few. I mean, when you're shipping thousands of books, there's going to be, a few that go astray. But I was getting more messages than normal and reached out to my agent and said, hey, I'm kind of getting crushed out here. I'm getting a lot of messages from people that aren't getting books. And so they began to investigate it. And then on Monday of this week, they identified the problem. Basically, there was a technical issue with the dogpilethebook.com website. When they printed out all your orders, the September orders did not print, and that actually went into some of the early orders in October. So they printed all those up, and I went back down there Tuesday evening and signed another, I guess about 450 to, I guess probably more than that, probably like 550 books to get those orders out, but also, too, to give them some additional stock to work with a signature on it. And so they have spent Wednesday and Thursday pretty much tirelessly working through getting those books out. You guys are beginning to get them. So now there were about 200 books went to the post office on Wednesday and 200 or so on Thursday. There are about 100 left, and the majority of those will go on Friday. There will be a few that will linger probably even into Monday. And the reason for that is they ran out of boxes. And then there's some of these companies are limiting what you can buy in boxes. And I've shared that. I've actually had a couple of people that work in that industry that have said, hey, Steve, if this ever happens again, you call us. We'll make sure you guys are taken care of. And you guys are so awesome about that sort of stuff. So it has been a bit of an ordeal. And I do my best to apologize, even though it's not my fault. It is my name on the book. And many of you have reached out to me, and I've shared your order numbers. With the staff there, with the publisher, and they've researched this. And many of you, as you have contacted me, I have gotten responses back, within, a couple of hours that your book is either shipped or about to ship. So to put it bluntly, we have never seen sales of this magnitude in such a short time. And our staff has kind of struggled to keep up. And so we're getting it handled. And then there are some online orders that have taken place here in the last week to 10 days that are still to get out. Those will go out next. But don't fret, because we're not going to run out of those books. Those books have been set aside for you all. They are reserved for you. And so you're not going to run the risk of, hey, I ordered and didn't get a book. That's not going to happen. Okay? There will be some book signings. I'm recording this late Thursday night. So this will be posted, of course, early Friday morning. I will be downtown at Book Martin Cafe today from 10:30 to around 12:30. And then on Saturday, I will be at Campus Book Mart approximately the same time, probably closer to 10 on Saturday. I've got some people coming to do some work Friday morning, so as a result, I'll be probably a little bit later getting to Book Martin Cafe. And then, then we'll have some signings next week. And so we had originally planned to be in Tupelo on Thursday at Reed's Gumtree Bookstore for the first time. Excited about that. And you guys, if you're in the Tupelo area, go by and buy those books. But today's signing had to be rescheduled due to the threat of inclement weather. That has now been moved to Tuesday. So you're not going to have to wait long. I'll be there Tuesday in Tupelo. That runs, I think, 4 to 5:30. And we'll firm that up for you on Monday. But I believe that's the case. That's out there on social media in case you're wondering. But yeah, it has been a real process. And so basically in less than 2 weeks' time, we have received books, we have signed thousands of books, and we have shipped nearly 5,000 books. And again, we're down to about a little bit less than 100 that still have to go out. And if you're one of those, again, I'm sorry, but we will get that to you. I know it's very frustrating. You order your books early, you get in line, and then next thing you know, there is a delay. But the reality of it is that we are working through it. And you guys have been great. I would say 99% of you have been like, hey, Steve, I just want to make sure things are going. And so what happens is many of you have either received some confirmation. Once your shipping label has been printed and your order completed, you generally get a notification. Now, not everybody gets a notification. I don't know if it goes to your spam or there's some filter on your email that prevents that from happening. But usually once you get that means that your book is ready to go to the post office. And so if that has happened with you, you can rest assured it's on the way. And that's not to say you should panic if you hadn't got one. Either you will get one, but we've had, or your book will show up. We've had some people that never got the notification, but still got their books. So it's not a consistent protocol. I can't explain it, but the reality of it is that there are some people that you don't know that are working awfully hard to ensure that you get your books. And again, it's unlike anything that we've seen. Flim Flam was a monster, and this is going to easily surpass everything we did with Flim Flam because of how special this book is. And I don't just say that out of arrogance or haughtiness, but the reality of it is more of a keepsake book. And so if you haven't ordered, you go to dogpilethebook.com, or you can just pick it up at one of these great bookstores around the state of Mississippi. And there are several that are carrying it. Of course, Turnrow in Greenwood has signed stock of all 5 books there. Several vendors in Starkville, Campus Book Mart, Book Martin Cafe, Maroon & Company, Liza Ty, and Barnes & Noble near campus. That also is taken care of. Ridgeland, Barnes & Noble, Lemuria Books in Jackson, College Corner also in Ridgeland. And so we got a lot of stuff going. Barnes & Noble in Tupelo. I can't even begin to run them all off right now because they just kind of escaped the mind. It has been a real blur, and I'll be honest with you, I'm tired. I am tired, and I look forward to going to bed tonight. I went to bed last night after a long night. I got home Tuesday night at around 1:30 in the morning, so really Wednesday morning, and then got up at 6 just because I was so conscious that I couldn't oversleep to get the kid to school. And have been checking in periodically throughout the day, the last couple of days, with the publisher to make sure that things are on track and to see if I can offer any assistance. But I'm your advocate. You guys believed in me, and you ordered these books because you believed in me and you enjoyed the writing. And so it's important. And you guys have been so great. Like I'll put it out there, and people will mess me. Hey, Steve, don't worry about this. It's all going to be okay. And I know that it will be. It's just I take it so personally. I work so hard for this. I want you guys to have your books. And, it's just unfortunate that many of the people that ordered first are going to get them last. And that's just something that doesn't sit well with me. But again, it's just part of the process. And got a lot of people involved in this for the first time, and they're working their way through it. And so that's where we are. And I want to continue to share that with you. And you're going to be taken care of. It's as simple as that. And again, many of you today will receive your books you've been waiting for. And then some will linger into the weekend, and then I would say midweek next week, all that'll be taken care of. And so again, we're gonna get ready to do it all again soon because I'm gonna go ahead and tell you we're gonna be out of books in the warehouse by the end of the month. There'll still be some books in stores that'll take you on into March, but with several Bulldog baseball weekends coming up, that inventory will be depleted much sooner rather than later. And it looks like the second printing will be delivered late April, and that could even leak into early May. We don't really know. As we saw, originally they told us Christmas, but things have cleared up a little bit in the supply chain. Not the way we'd like it to be. It usually takes about 6 to 8 weeks to print one of these books. It's been a much different situation this go around. So we will sell out. We will sell out of the first printing. But that doesn't mean that there aren't more books to be had, because there will be. And what we're going to do, too, once the warehouse is empty, we will direct you to vendors and say, hey, listen, people will contact me, hey, Steve, where can I get the book? And I'll be happy to share that. And we'll share that regularly. And I would encourage you, too, follow your favorite bookstore on social media and kind of keep up with that. We'll have some book signings coming up and a lot of things that we'll share. I'll be in Columbus next Thursday for the first time at Friendly City Books, and they already have stock in hand. I think they have 4 of the 5 books, maybe Blooms of Oleander, the only thing they don't, and we'll bring them stock next week. So if you're looking for that, you'll be able to purchase that there as well. Very, very appreciative of all of you and of all the vendors that have been so gracious to carry the books over the years. It means so much to me that so many people are involved in this and want to help us, and specifically me, sell books and provide you guys with something hopefully that you'll cherish for a long, long time. All right, let's thank our good friends at Bulldog Burger Company, longtime sponsors of this show. I plan to eat there one day next week. It has been a very busy week. I didn't get a chance to kind of cure my craving for a Bulldog burger this week. Maybe tomorrow, but we'll see. Definitely next week. I love going in there because I know what I'm going to get. I'm going to get my money's worth. I'm going to get a great portion. I'm going to get at a great price with great service. And it's not just specific to me. These people know what they're doing. 3 great locations to serve you. University Drive here in Start Vegas. Gloucester Street there in Tupelo. And, of course, the brand new one, Lake Harbor Drive there in the Ridge and Flowwood area. Go by and check them out. Have the spring rolls as your appetizer. They'll make you and everybody around you better looking. And I'll tell you, if you're looking for a great dessert, because I'm a bit of a bread pudding connoisseur. I don't know if you know that about me. It's true. Should probably be on my resume and my Twitter bio, but I am a bread pudding connoisseur, and they have the Shipley Donuts bread pudding at Bulldog Burger Company. A really nice addition, nice way to cap off the meal, bit of a palate cleanser. I like it a lot. And maybe if you don't want to go that route, maybe get you that chocolate shake to go. You'll be glad you did. Bulldog Burger Company, the place where people go to meet. M-E-A-T. All right, since we've been together, we've lost a couple of basketball games. I don't like it any more than you do. And I'll be honest with you, losing that game at Alabama, even though I expected to lose, that one stung me a little bit more than some of the other ones. And I can't really explain why that is. I know we had beaten them. Shackelford, I don't think was 100%. He may not have even played the first game. But even though I didn't expect us to win, we had a real opportunity. And it felt like, for a while there, we were the better team. We had a stretch there in the second half where I thought we really outplayed them and played with some real toughness that maybe hadn't always been there. But unfortunately, like many of our other games, in the final 4 minutes, we simply fold down the stretch. I've said many times before, and I believe this, and I don't think it'll ever change, that coaching wins and loses close ball games. I thought that Nate Oates' little temper tantrum really ignited his team. And when that happened, I said, you know what? Either we're fixing to hammer these guys and put them away, or they're going to come back to win the game. And they did. Let's take a quick look at the ball game. 34-30 is your halftime score there. And so it was still, very much a game at 34-30. And it felt like, even when we made the late run there, that, we hit the locker room probably with more confidence perhaps than many people expected us to have. We have had some games over at Coleman Coliseum that were not good. They simply were not good. This was a really good basketball game and one that I feel like we should have won. Second half, they open up, and Quinterly, we talked about him on Wednesday's show. He is very much an irritant. He's a guy you look up and, next thing you know, he's the open shooter and can knock down a three. He pushes the lead out to 7. And then Cam Carter gets going. And Cam Carter's a guy that we're really high on. We think he's got a bright future in maroon and white. He comes in, hits back-to-back threes. That kind of bookends around a Javon Quinterly layup, and all of a sudden it's a 3-point game. And it really felt like, hey, if we're going to be able to make some baskets from the perimeter, we got a shot here. And I thought that the play there at the 18:30 mark when Iverson Molinar drove in the lane, and as they begin to collapse, he kicks it out to Cam, and Cam knocks it in 39-36. And you just kind of felt like, hey, we're here to fight. You might beat us, but we're not going to quit. A little bit later in the game, of course, they we trade possessions there, trade turnovers, and they go up 5. The next thing you know, they're up 7, and then DJ Jeffries hits a 3. We've talked about needing that breakout game from DJ. I thought he had perhaps one of his better games in the Mississippi State uniform against Alabama. Really, really set the tone early when Molinar was struggling to find a shot. DJ Jeffries kind of helped carry some of the scoring load. Iverson Molinar hits a 3 at the 16-minute mark that pulls us within 3 at a 45-42 score there. And again, it felt like we're right there in it. We trade baskets, and the next thing you know, Cam Carter hits a big 3 to tie the game at 15:08. At this point, it felt like we had all the juice, and Coleman Coliseum was pretty quiet. And that's a place, too, that'll eat you alive. When the home team gets rolling, that crowd is really kind of a sixth player. They really take over. But I thought we did a good job of kind of taking the crowd out of the ball game during the middle part of the second half. Darius Miles hits a 3, and what do? We answer right back. Shaquille Moore knocks down a 3. All of a sudden, it's a 3-point shooting contest, and the Bulldogs are holding their own. 13:01 to go. They get a jumper to go up 2. Make a couple free throws to push it back out to 54, and then Cam Matthews with a pretty athletic play there to heave it home to cut it to within 2. It's a 54-52 ball game. They get a free throw, miss another, and then it's a 55-52 game. And then Molinar makes the jumper. We start getting him going. He makes the free throw on the hoop and harm, and now it's a tie ball game at 10:37. And it just felt like State had the ability to maybe steal one here. It felt like Alabama was beginning to panic a little bit. We really showed some composure here, and I really felt like, hey, we're playing some of our best basketball of the year in a hostile environment, in a place that has been kind of a house of horrors for us. Maybe we have a shot here. Maybe we've got a shot. We trade some empty possessions here. The next thing you know, State takes the lead on an Iverson Molinar free throw. Misses the front end of that, which is a rarity for him. But next thing you know, it's 56-55 Mississippi State. They miss a 3, and next thing you know, there's a technical foul called. The first. Molinar steps up, calmly makes them both. They go back and hit a basket to make it 58-57 Mississippi State. Then there's a second technical foul, and Nate Oates is ejected. Now, if you saw that on TV, and I watched the game on TV, I didn't drive over to Tuscaloosa. Nate Oates is basically kind of goading the officials, and they showed some stuff that happened during the commercial break. He kept writing the officials, and there was one play, before this sequence where they turned the ball over by stepping on the outline or the inline, the sideline. And he continued to harp on that, and then late he's kind of crouched down, and I don't know which official was on the baseline. They said something to him, and Nate Oates basically said, do it, basically daring them to throw him out. And then they did. And that was kind of a turning point in the ballgame. 8:34 to go. He is out of the game. Molinar makes both free throws. We're up 3. We get the ball back on an offensive rebound by Anderson Garcia, and then he lays it up and in. Now State is up 5. We get a stop. And it's Anderson Garcia again. He always brings energy. Not the best free throw shooter, but he brings life to the floor when he's out there. Now all of a sudden we're up 7, and it feels like, hey, this is going to have the reverse impact that Nate Oates expected. Rather than igniting his team, it seemed like it ignited us. We had him on the ropes, and here we are trying to knock him out. State now up 7, under 8, and then we get a stop. Garrison Brooks with a nice block there, but they ultimately get the ball back. Knock down a 3, which cuts it down to 4. We miss a shot. They make a layup. Now it's a 2-point lead for Mississippi State. They make a couple free throws, tie the game up. Brooks, again, with a nice dunk there, under 6 minutes, gives State a 2-point lead. And again, it felt like we weren't going anywhere. We're hanging in here. Now we're coming up on the witchy now. We're around that 4-minute mark, which always seems to be, our nemesis. It's like if we're ever in a close ball game, when we get to 4 minutes, we can't close. They miss a three, so we have the ball and the lead. We miss a shot. They miss a three, get an offensive rebound, lay it up and in. It is now a tied game. And from here, Alabama takes over. They make the free throw there on the and one. Cam Matthews jacks up a three, misses. We actually get an offensive rebound. And then DJ Jeffries misses a three. We get a stop. Then Molinar misses a three. That's 3 consecutive missed three-pointers. Like all of a sudden, the iron was kind to us, and now all of a sudden, we can't throw it in the ocean. We get into the 4-minute area, the danger zone for us. Basically, you go full minute without either team scoring. And with 2 minutes to go, Alabama goes up 3 on a dunk. Pretty impressive play there. Make it 69-66 for those guys. And again, we haven't scored now in 2 minutes. We turn the ball over. They go down, hit a shot, go up 5. We miss a 3, get an offensive rebound, miss another shot. They make a pair of free throws. Now it's a 7-point game with just over a minute to play. We miss a dunk on our end. They go down and score immediately, goes up 9. And at 9 points, under a minute to go, the game is over. Molinar makes a jumper to get us a little bit closer, makes it 75-68. The free throw is good. Now it's a 6-point game with 48 seconds to go. It's incredible. They make a free throw, pushes it back up to 76. Molinar gets a layup, makes it 76-71. With just 37 seconds to play, we have to foul. They make the free throws. Cam Carter gets in, makes a couple free throws to put it within 5, and at that point, that's pretty much the ball game. They get a layup late with 13 seconds to go, make the free throw at 79, then the other free throw is good, 80-75. So, again, you go back and you look at the final 4 minutes of this ball game, it was still a game. It was very much a game. It just was it 5 minutes to go in the game, we're down 1. And then we get outscored down the stretch. 13-9. Is that right? 13-9? Yeah, 13-9 down the stretch. And that ends up being really the difference in the ball game. And many of you have already said it. I know a lot of people use it in their headlines, including our article over on genespage.com. It's the same song, different verse. And so here is what happens. And I've been watching and coaching sports for many years, like many of you. When you have a team that doesn't know how to win, they find a way to lose. Now, what is it, 6 of 7 for Mississippi State? We talk about, being on the bubble. We can't even see the bubble right now. We can't even see it. Very, 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 very disappointing result, even though it's a team we expected to lose to. And it's not the fact that we lost. It's the fact that the same issue has become a recurring theme. We cannot close out basketball games. And there are so many times, too, and I'll say this, and this is a criticism of Ben Howland, there are a lot of times, too, late in games, it seems to me we get caught watching the game rather than coaching the game. A team gets on a run, and rather than call a timeout to kind of settle things down, we don't. And so the reality of it is Mississippi State, we talked about this defining 5-game stretch, and before it began, which is with the South Carolina game, I share with you guys then, my biggest fear is we're going to go 1-4. We're going to beat South Carolina, who was starting to play actually pretty well, but I thought we were the more athletic team, and we showed that. And then we've lost 4 in a row. 4 in a row, yeah. So it's 6 of 7 that we've lost. And so any talk about making the tournament can now cease for a while, unless we make some incredible run down the stretch. And what have we done to really inspire any confidence? State now 14-11 overall and 5-7 in the league. Wasn't too long ago Mississippi State was 4-1. Since that time we are 1-6 in the SEC, and you throw in the Texas Tech loss, and you begin to see that a golden opportunity to get this team into the NCAA tournament has gone by the wayside. Leading scorer for Alabama was Javon Quinterly. Nice game for him, for sure. But Alabama, they're a very prolific offense when they can hit from the perimeter. We actually defended them pretty well, but they missed some wide open looks. They go 6 of 30 from the three-point line. And if I had told you on Wednesday, hey, Mississippi State's going to hold Alabama to just 6 made threes, you would think we'd won the basketball game. We didn't. Offensively, we made 6. We matched their three-point output, even though we shot a better percentage. And Cam Carter, of course, the leader in that respect, 3 of 6, kind of running the numbers here. Derek Fountain played 5 minutes, did not score, did not attempt a shot. Javian Davis played against his old team, 10 minutes of action, did not score, attempted 1 shot, missed that, committed a couple personal fouls. Shaquille Moore, he has disappeared. And I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if we're not running the same sets or, because of the fact that we're trying to get Molinar off the point, that perhaps many of those looks are going to him rather than Shaquille, but Shaquille just 3 points. Anderson Garcia off the bench, 4 points for him, pulls down 1 rebound, perfect from the field. Cam Matthews, 18 minutes of action. And I don't know that Cam Matthews isn't our best athlete. Again, not a prolific scorer, but the guy is a competitor. You can build around a guy like Cam Matthews. Of course, he's not a guy that's going to carry your program, but he's going to be a good glue guy on the court and in the locker room. 18 minutes, just 4 points, but pulled down 7 rebounds, which led the team. Also had an assist and a couple blocks, throw in a steal. Again, he just does the grunt work. Tolo Smith, a very disappointing game from him. I don't know if he's just not healthy or just not feeling right. We don't catch the ball well in the post. And this is a veteran post player. 17 minutes, 2 of 6 from the floor, turned the ball over a couple times, just pulled down just 3 rebounds. Again, I don't know what's right. Ends up fouling out of the basketball game. Not exactly sure what's going on there. We're going to have a healthy Tolo Smith to make this thing even interesting. Garrison Brooks, 33 minutes, 2 of 5 from the floor, 0 of 1 from three-point line. 4, and I think that was an air ball. Perfect from the free throw line, pulled down 6 rebounds, 4 personal fouls, a turnover, 4 blocks, just the 8 points. But I thought Garrison played really hard. He didn't have a lot to show for it in the box score from a scoring standpoint, but I thought he played hard. I think he is giving good effort. I really do. Cam Carter, kind of a breakout game for him. 28 minutes of action and in the starting lineup. 4 of 12 from the floor, 3 of 6 from three-point line, and perfect from the free throw line, 4 of 4. Pulled down a couple of boards, had 3 assists, 1 turnover, and a steal. DJ Jeffries, and really we've been kind of waiting for him to do this. And again, he's kind of a volume shooter. 32 minutes of action, 6 of 15 from the floor. I don't know that I need him taking that many shots. I think we want him to be a little more aggressive, but his shot selection at times leaves a lot to be desired. 1 of 4 from the three-point line, perfect from the line, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, a turnover, a steal, and 15 points. Which brings us to our prime shrimp player of the game, and it's kind of like a broken record, right? It's Iverson Molinar. Let's talk real quickly about prime shrimp. A lot of Bulldogs are already checking this new product out, based out of New Orleans. This is a New Orleans-based prime shrimp company. And here's the deal. I like seafood a lot. Matter of fact, I've eaten some here in the last couple of days. It's difficult to find quality seafood in North Mississippi. Don't get me wrong. No disrespect to anybody. But I'll be honest with you. I would prefer to get my seafood from South Louisiana. That's the case here. You get easy cooked shrimp. You don't have to devein it. You don't have to peel it. There's no mess. All you do is open up the pouch. It comes to you in these neat little pouches that are very well iced and cooled. So like if they get delivered in the morning, you don't make it home for the afternoon. You don't have spoiled shrimp waiting for you when you get home. So you open up the pouch and you drop it right into the pot. Pretty impressive. Just basically 10 minutes of cook time. No prep, no clean, just 10 minutes of prep. When cleaning boils down to just throwing away a pouch, that's a win right there. Current flavors available are the signature seasoned, which is definitely a favorite, and then the French Quarter Alfredo, which you get ready to serve that over a bed of noodles. You'll be glad you did. Money back guarantee, and orders over 4 pounds get free shipping. Visit Prime Shrimp today, and this is the last. This offer is going to run through the weekend. This week's Boneyard promo code will get you 50% off your first purchase. It's a nice little incentive, a little introductory offer for you guys that are unfamiliar with the company. Again, that's Prime Shrimp, based out of Louisiana. I have it. I think it's great. Check it out yourself. Prime Shrimp, promo code Boneyard, and that gets you 50%. 50% off your first order, and that's only good this week. We'll have a different promotion next week. A lot of Jeans pagers have already ordered their shrimp to check it out. You'll be glad you did. All right, let's thank our good friend Blair Chandler. Longtime friend of mine. I like the guy a lot, like his family. His wife Christy's great. The kids are great. And Blair's a guy, too, that I trust. It's one of those things, too. There are a lot of people out there that I consider acquaintances. I consider Blair a friend. And if he's a friend to me, he's a friend to you. And it pays to have a friend in the industry, especially when there are things that are complicated like mortgage. And that's what Blair is. He is a mortgage professional. There are a lot of people that are loan officers. Blair is a mortgage professional. Been in the business 21 years. Guy works for Fairway Mortgage. Recently voted #1 in customer satisfaction in mortgage lending. So you're getting the top guy from the top company. Top 1% close ratio in the country. He has seen the atypical borrower. And many of you are non-conforming. Maybe you've got an interesting revenue stream. Maybe it's one of those situations where you've got multiple jobs where you're trying to piece things together. Maybe you've had some challenges on the credit side. Blair can work with you on all that. There are a lot of people out there that are maybe afraid to try because they've had such negative experiences in the past. Well, give Blair a chance to help you. He's one of the family. And because he is, he's going to give you a little bit of a discount too. He's going to pay for your appraisal. You reach out to Blair and you say, hey, I heard about you on the Boneyard. Boom. That's all you got to say. Your appraisal's paid for. That's a great feature right there. Give Blair a text or call today on his personal cell number, 601-500-2344. Again, that's 601-500-2344. Of course, visit him at closewithblair.com. That's C-L-O-S-E with Blair, B-L-A-I-R.com. All right, top 10 list. Now, many of you were where I wanted to be on Thursday night. You were at the amphitheater in Brandon, and you got to see one of my favorite bands perform live. They have not played a lot of dates in the state of Mississippi. I have seen them, I think, in 5 states. I haven't seen them here. They come to my home state, and I don't even go see them. And I feel awful. And I had about 10 of you reach out and say, hey, Steve, are you here? No, I'm in Starkville. Got a lot going on. Trying to get these orders out, right? Trying to help navigate and be, kind of the conduit. And I wanted to watch the game too. But I would love to have been there with you guys. I know this, for many of you, Shaman's Harvest opening up for Theory of a Dead Man is your first experience with Shaman's Harvest. And so because I know them so well, and I do know those guys, Josh, they're a lot. I'll message Josh and say, hey, Josh, we're going to be at the show at this place. And then I'll get there and I meet up with Josh and he goes, well, Steve, just tell me what we're playing tonight, man. What do you want to hear? These guys are fabulous guys out of Jefferson City, Missouri. They play a really good brand of Southern rock with a little bit of an attitude. Kind of funny at times too. But these guys have been doing this for a long time. I mean, this band has been together now, I think, 30 years. They kind of came up in the post-grunge era. Kind of took them a while to find their sound. But Fisher, the bass player, Nate, the singer, and Josh, those guys have been around together for a long time. They were friends in high school, and as Josh tells you, Nate was kind of the artsy guy and a little bit younger than them, and they finally put a band together, and now you got Shaman's Harvest. And I want to tell you a little bit of their story before we get into the top 10 list. So one of my favorite albums, probably the last 2 decades, is Smoking Hearts and Broken Guns. I've shared that with you guys before. Every song on the album sounds like a single. There are some albums that are just kind of some filler stuff, and you kind of throw some things in. This album is spectacular. I saw them for the first time in person over, I think it was at Iron City or the Iron Horse in Birmingham, with Blackstone Cherry and Mark Tremonti's band, Tremonti. And I went to go see Tremonti and Blackstone, and we decided, hey, we'll listen to Shamans on the way over there. I heard a couple songs from them, and next thing you know, I'm absolutely hooked. By the time I got to Birmingham, I couldn't wait for Shamans to take the stage. And then after that, anytime they have been within a reasonable driving distance, I've gone to see them play. I love those guys. Saw them at Rocklahoma. I've been over to what's that called, the 11th Frame there in Huntsville. Saw them at the old Juanita's Cantina. out there in Little Rock. I mean, I've been everywhere to see them play. And I hate that I missed them. But here's the cool thing. And I say that just because there is a redemptive value to the story. Nate, the singer, before they recorded Smoking Hearts and Broken Guns, they had this success with the Shine album, which was their fourth album, I believe is correct. The first album is no longer in print. So Shine was big for them, had a bit of a breakthrough hit, a couple of hits that had gone on radio. And the next thing you know, Nate is diagnosed with throat cancer. And it got really, really bad. And they thought they were going to lose him. And they knew that Smoking Hearts and Broken Guns may be the last album they ever recorded together as friends and as a band. And so they poured everything into it. Every dime they'd ever made from music, they poured into production value of the next album. They booked more studio time. They wrote and rehearsed. And, Nate's like, hey, I don't know how much time I have left. I don't know if I'm going to lose the quality of my voice. I don't know what's going to happen. So we can't mess around recording this album. And they absolutely killed it. And then next thing you know, the album comes out, things begin to go well, and then Nate's in remission and hasn't had a recurrence of the cancer ever since then. And to me, it makes that album mean even more because I understand the circumstances in which it was recorded. So if Shamans is a new band to you, and we talked about Ra the other day, I like Shamans even more. I love Ra, I do. But Shaman's Harvest, I think, has a real southern appeal. And so maybe if Ra, and they're kind of a progressive band, if that's not your style, I don't know anybody that wouldn't like Shamans. I really don't. And I love them because of the music, but I've spent so much time around those guys. I know when we went to Huntsville, Ani went with me, and one of the songs is on the top 10 list. They don't normally play live, and I asked if they could do it. They did. And then when other bands are playing, Josh is out there hanging out with us and, laughing about his hat. Because I asked him, I said, it's a cool hat, where'd you get it? He goes, man, I think I got it at Walmart, And he turns to Ani and he goes, yeah, man, I've been trying to make homeless look cool for decades. They're just real down-to-earth dudes. They really appreciate their fans. They're a good timing band. And so, again, I can't endorse these guys highly enough. So here's the top 10 list. And here are a few honorable mentions that didn't make the list. And because there are so many Shaman's Harvest fans in my family, I had to kind of fight for this list. Here are the honorable mentions. A couple of tracks off of the Red Hands, Black Deeds album, which is a follow-up to Smoking Hearts and Broken Guns. It's Off the Tracks and Soul Crusher. Those are two of my favorite tracks off that album. I don't like that album quite as much as Smoking Guns, but I do like it a lot. And then there's one more. I guess the Come Up is on there too. Yeah, there's three of those from that album. And then Turn It Up is off the Shine album, which is a good rockin' song that is the second track on the album. So number 10 on the list is one of the brand new ones. It is the lead single on the new album, Revelator. It's called Voices. There's a rock music video for this. It is a very, very cool song. I think you will dig that. I don't know that they played that tonight down in Brandon. I was looking earlier just to kind of see what they played. Yeah, they did play it. It looks like on the more recent Shaman's Harvest set list, they're opening with Bird Dog, and then Voices is the second one, and then Soul Crusher, one of our honorable mentions, is third on this. And so, a good start tonight if you had an opportunity to see those guys. Number 9, the lead track off of Smoking Heart and Broken Guns is a song called Dangerous. And I actually talked to Bill Martin at one time, and he talked about, hey, we might make this the intro when Mississippi State takes a football field at Davis Wade Stadium. He was like on board for that and was going to talk to marketing about it. I don't know that conversation ever happened. But Bill's a rocker too, even though he's kind of a short, bald guy. I love Bill to death. Bill's a rocker. And I turned him onto this song, and he loved it. And there is a cancer reference in the song where he talks about this deadly sickness. And, he was going through this reckless time in his life where he was like, I've got nothing left, and that makes me dangerous. This is an absolutely killer track. I think you'll love it. Now, number 8, and this is the only song off of the March of the Bastards album that made the list. This is another one of those good timing songs. I can see everybody sitting around a fire. Somebody gets out a guitar, and next thing you know, we're jamming to Destination Nowhere. It is a great song. A lot of times when I get ready to go on vacation or take a trip, I put this song on. I just want to get out of here sometimes and have some time to myself. So this one kind of means a lot to me, and some people close to me love this one too. Number 7, most people wouldn't have this song on the list. And I'll be honest with you. I'll be really, really honest with you guys. One of the first times I heard this song, it made me real emotional. I was just like, I could just feel what Nate had put into the song. And I had a chance to talk to him about it at Rocklahoma. I said, I got an idea who wrote this song. And he just grinned. I said, dude, it is so beautiful. I absolutely love this song so much. And it's Tuscan Bone. I absolutely love this song. And I don't know how anybody could like it. I mean, it's, it's just kind of like, it's just like, kind of like a hard life song. But I think you'll dig it. There's a lot of emotion in the song. And Nate is a guy that's overcome a lot, so it makes it mean a little bit more to me. Number 6, this was a big hit for these guys off of Smoking Guns. It's In Chains. And it's one of those songs, too, that it got on Octane on Sirius XM, and it's like it never got off the Biggins Countdown. It's like once it got on there, they couldn't get it off. Now, going back to the Shine album, number 5, this is kind of a cult classic. There are a lot of people that are big Shamans fans that want this song played live. It was never released as a single, but it is one of those deep tracks that people have really gotten excited about. And every time that we go see him play, I just kind of mentioned to Josh ahead of time, hey, can we hear Strike the Slate, number 5? This is a wonderful song. And honestly, I wish that it had kind of come later in their catalog because I think the production value of the albums were so much better. But when they play it live, to me, it's a very emotional song. And, it's just one of those songs I think lyrically is a high point in their catalog. So number 5, Strike the Slate off the Shine album. Number 4, and this is a song that Ani and I really wanted them to play. Had a chance to meet with them. We went out to Huntsville, and it seems like every time I see them, we get to chill, which I really appreciate. I can always text Josh and say, hey, we're coming to the show. But we get out there, and, Ani, of course, plays some guitar and plays the drums and does a lot of things. And, this song was one that was really special to us. And so Ani's asking Nate about playing the song, and Nate's like, hey, let me just show you. And so we go over there. We go backstage. He gets the guitar out. He shows them all the little tricks and all the things that don't show up in these DIY videos and the tablatures and stuff that make it online. So he got a chance to have the guy that wrote this song show him how to play it. It means an awful lot to me. The song is called In the End. And basically it's about, when you reach the end of life and you're going to look back, how are you going to view your life? It's one of those songs that's very introspective, I guess you could say. It's like, are you going to think you won? Are you going to think you lost? Are you going to think about the people that you harmed? Are you going to think about the people you cared about? And again, he writes this, when he's battling cancer. And so there is some authenticity to the song that I think really resonates. Number 3, one of their sillier songs, and I can't give you the full title because this is a family show. But it's number 3, and it's Country as Blank. Country as Blank. And it is a very, very funny song. And I love the little part there. I love all the little ad-libs and stuff they do in a song. And, he says this one thing just kind of as a throwaway comment in a song, and it is so very Mississippi. He says, get yourself some fried chicken and gasoline. Well, that's what we do. You can't get gas without having a chicken place. In Mississippi, it's fabulous. You can fuel up and tank up at the same place in Mississippi, but it's a really tongue-in-cheek song, but it kind of makes fun of our people because they're our people, and it's when we do it, it's funny. When other people don't, they do it, it's not funny. Number 2, and this is one of those songs too. From the very first time that I heard it, I said, this is something special. And on the Smoking Hearts tour, they opened with this. It opens up with this really great harmony, and it's a song called Blood in the Water. And I used to always tweet that out when I go see Shamans play. I'd say, I'm on my way to see Shamans Harvest play, and if I die before I get home, rest my head next to Daddy Stone. It's like it's just one of those great Southern colloquialism type songs. But number 1, and it's really the song that really was the breakthrough hit from them. The first time that I ever heard of Shaman's Harvest, this is the song that I heard on Sirius XM Octane. It's Dragonfly. And there's the version on the Shine album that is phenomenal. And then they re-recorded it with better production value, and they added an acoustic arrangement to it on the Smoking Guns album. And they're both great, but I like the second version better. But this is a killer band, and I always get so excited to share new music, maybe with bands that you're unfamiliar with. This is one of them. I should have done this list a long time ago, but I thought, how timely would it be, since many of you went to that show tonight to see Theory of a Dead Man, and the better band was the opening band. And that's not a real shot at Theory. I think Theory's a good band. I don't think they're great. I think Shamans is a great band. And if I suspect if you went to that show tonight with an open mind, you probably walked away fans of Shaman's Harvest. And I can tell you this, not only are they great musicians, they're great dudes. They really are. And I in many respects, I feel like, Josh is kind of a friend, because every time I'll text him and say, hey, we're going to be here. And he's like, cool, do this, do that, meet me here. And it's like, next thing you know, I got a backstage pass and we're walking around and meeting other bands and that kind of stuff. He's just a good dude. He doesn't owe me any of that. He's just a good guy that recognizes the fact that I'm a big fan of the band, and I come out and I'll travel to go watch them play. And we've seen him all over. I know when we saw him in Rocklahoma, he was surprised that I was there. I forgot to text him and say we're coming. And, we're backstage. Next thing you know, they finish up the set, and he walks off and he sees me. And immediately just smiles and walks over, and he goes, what are you doing here? I said, I'm here to see the show, just like everybody else, And so I love these guys, and I cannot support them enough, and I can't endorse them enough. I really think once you get into this band, you're really going to really appreciate the fact. And there's, again, a new album out, too. Be sure and check that out. If you've got ideas for the top 10 list, reach out and let me know. We may just use them. You can track our list over on Spotify or on Twitter at Dogmatic67. And Roy has given us the explanation for Dogmatic 6-7. There already was a Dogmatic, and he talks about, being dogmatic, with your opinions. And 67 is the year that he was born. So how about that? Roy's older than me. And so that's the explanation for that. Dogmatic 6-7. And, of course, our good friend Izzy Mandelbaum puts all these things on Apple Music for us. So be sure and follow those guys on Twitter, and you can keep up with the list. All right, time for the women's review, brought to you by Campus Book Mart. Really good effort tonight from the women. Good effort by Campus Book Mart always, too. Standing man, Miss Kathy Brown, the lovely, talented Susie, they're going to take care of you, because in their minds, you're family. And I consider them family. Every time I go in there, they're always so glad to see me. And it's not just unique to me. I'll sit there, and there'll be so many people coming in. And we always talk about how customer service is a lost art form today, and it is. I mean, it really, really is. There are so many people these days that are in business that don't value their customers. It's like, they're doing you a favor by waiting on you. It's not like that at Campus Book Mart. You walk in there, they're just so glad to see you. They'll tell you hello and goodbye. They'll ask if you need any help, but they're not going to pressure you. They're going to answer any of your questions. They got a great crew there that do a great job. They represent Starkville and Mississippi State very, very well. So if you're looking for Mississippi State merchandise, go visit my friends over at Campus Book Mart. While you're in town this weekend, go come by and say hello. I'll be there Saturday morning. If you can't make it to town, let me encourage you. You can visit them on the World Wide Web at campusbookmart.net. They also have books there, too. And when we run out, they're going to have some. So be sure and give those folks an opportunity to serve you. Again, that's campusbookmart.net. And by being a loyal Boneyard listener, we'll give you a phrase that pays. That's BSR, which stands for Beautiful Steve Robertson. And that'll get you free shipping on all orders over $50. Any order less than $50, absolutely incomplete. All right, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. I didn't expect to win the game against LSU. I didn't, because they're better than us. And we're playing, pretty quickly. Our legs are pretty much gone. But I'll be honest with you, I did not expect this to be the game that it turned out to be. I really did. And again, it's really a credit to these ladies and Doug Novak. We just kind of ran out of gas tonight. We did. I mean, we had a lead in the fourth quarter, and we just ran out of gas. Now, LSU is a little more talented than us and certainly has more depth. But I thought our ladies really responded well. We got down early. It's 23-16 in the first quarter, and it was worse than that about halfway through. We respond in the second quarter. We outscore LSU by 4, cut into that lead, and all of a sudden you look up, and it's 34-31. You're thinking, we got a shot here. And what do? You win the third quarter, too. And then State has the lead heading into the fourth. And similar to what we saw against Kentucky, we get outscored. ironically, the same score, 24-10. We just ran out of juice. And to me, it's different. It's like we look at the men's side and you say, well, Steve, they didn't close on the women's side either. But it wasn't for a lack of effort. And it wasn't for a lack of toughness. We're playing with 7 players, against a top 15 opponent. We got basically a full complement of a roster on the men's side. And I'll be honest with you, I've said this before on the show, and I know some people don't like this, and I don't really care. If our men played with the same level of toughness that our women did, they would be a shoo-in for the NCAA tournament. And if that steps on your toes, I hope it hurts. All right, looking at the numbers here. Alexis Morris led LSU with 23 points, led all scorers with that. Anastasia Hayes comes back, 17-point effort for her. Played 38 minutes, and that's the thing you look at too. I mean, it's just, the amount of wear and tear these ladies are putting on themselves at this point in the season is it's remarkable. It really is. They don't have any choice. Anastasia Hayes, 38 minutes, 7 of 22 from the field. They did a good job kind of keeping her off her game a little bit. She knocked down a 3, and then perfect from the line, 4 rebounds, a couple fouls. And that's amazing to me. We didn't have anybody foul out. It really didn't have anybody close to fouling out. They're learning to play without fouling, which is important when you don't have any depth. But Anastasia Hayes, 5 assists, a couple turnovers, a steal, 17 points. Jerkelia Jordan, she was one that I thought fatigue really got to. 33 minutes, 4 of 15. That's what happens. I mean, your legs go on a jump shot. 2 of 5 from 3. Knocked down a couple free throws. Pulled down 7 rebounds, which was second most on the team. Because we had a player have a career night. And it wasn't Jerkelia Jordan, who had a pretty good ball game, though. 4 steals, 12 points. Maya Taylor, I mean, what else can we say about her? I mean, you expect double-digit scoring, good defense, and a lot of minutes played. You got that. 39 minutes, 4 of 10 from the floor. Knocked down 3 three-pointers. How about that? That's big. Missed 2 free throws, pulled down 3 boards, 3 assists, a turnover, a couple steals. 11 points for her. Katarian Thompson, Bree, decent night for her. But, again, these long-range shooters, they're the ones that fatigue really gets after the most, 28 minutes for her, 4 of 11 from the field, just connected on 1 three-pointer on 5 attempts, pulled down 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 9 points for her. If we were going to do a prime shrimp player of the game, I'm giving it to Charlotte Cole. You say, well, Steve, she wasn't the leading scorer. She wasn't. But she played her best game in a Mississippi State uniform against LSU, against a ranked opponent, as this team is battling and fighting and scratching and clawing to get to an NCAA tournament. Charlotte Cole has gotten better. Now, granted, she really hadn't had a lot of choice but to get better because she's been thrust into the starting lineup. But she has responded. 33 minutes of action, 4 of 5 from the field. She even attempted a three-pointer. 6 of 5, 6 offensive rebounds, 5 defensive, 11 rebounds on the night, 2 personal fouls. And that was the issue the other night, right? As she got into some foul trouble. She played without fouling, still played a physical brand of basketball, competed for rebounds. When she didn't get it, she made them really compete, got in their legs a little bit too, and 8 points. So great effort from her. Ashley Jones, again, coming just to kind of give our ladies a little bit of a rest. 5 minutes for her, 1 of 3 from the floor. Pulls down a couple boards. And then Aislinn Hayes doesn't score, but again, 24 minutes, played some good defense, pulled down 4 rebounds, an assist, a couple turnovers. And so, basically, we're going out here and playing with a shoestring roster. And so it's going to be the same players over and over again. But the reality of it is I just think we're building a solid nucleus here. And I don't know how many of these players are going to be back next year. I don't know. Who knows? Just don't know how that's going to work out. But those that do return are going to take an awful lot of pride in the uniform. They already do. And so excited about this. And again, everybody says, well, Steve, what about Doug Novak? And, the thing that I continue to say, and I don't want to belabor the point, is that I think this is a special team that is kind of bonded around adversity. I just don't think this is sustainable. And you say, well, Steve, well, yeah, but y'all, I think you got to look at the bigger picture here. And we've lost 2 in a row, and I think in some respects it kind of quietens things down a little bit. I know that the guy has some support. I really do. I just don't think it's nearly as convenient as some people think that it is. Well, let's just promote him. And to be honest with you, that's kind of the old antiquated Mississippi State thinking. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I wouldn't support Doug Novak. I absolutely would. But I think you got to start piecemealing a staff together. And this is a guy that's basically kind of built a career on the men's side. And I think it'll be difficult. I really do. And I'm not advocating against him. I'm just kind of letting you know, based on some things that I've heard, I think that we are going to go get an established coach that will bring probably the overwhelming majority of their staff. Sometimes people leave, and then the school they're departing from, wants to retain somebody, maybe an associate head coach or lead assistant to promote from within, and that may be what we see happen here. But again, I'm not saying that Doug Novak is not a candidate, because he clearly is, and he deserves to be. But I don't think he is going to get the job. I don't, and I don't think it has anything to do with the last couple of all games, because I know they are doing everything they can. They are representing this university exceptionally well. But I think we need to bring in kind of a ready-made staff that understands, women's basketball, a coach that has some extensive experience recruiting and coaching women on the college level. And I know that's not the popular opinion, and I'm okay with that. But that's how I feel. I know many people are like, don't mess this up, just give it to Novak. I just think there are bigger issues here. I think again, you look at the circumstances and how this thing has come together, and it is very admirable how this team has performed and this coaching staff has performed. You got people that are not really coaches that are out there helping coach, because that's what needs to be done. And it says a lot about their character. And I wish every one of them well when they leave Mississippi State, and I hope that they find gainful employment elsewhere and get what they want out of the profession. The ladies will get a couple days off. They probably need the cold tubs for a day or so, and then they will travel to Missouri. So they'll be on the road in the air on Saturday. I don't know how much work we get done on Friday. Probably need to let them get some therapy. Back-to-back road games here in the next week at Missouri, at Tennessee. Got to get a split there. I mean, you'd love to get them both. It's going to be very difficult to go up and win in Knoxville. Some of our better teams have struggled to do that. And against some kind of average Tennessee teams, this is a good Tennessee team. So just 3 games remaining in the regular season. My personal opinion is if we're going to make the tournament, we need to take down Missouri and Arkansas. Of course, you get Tennessee, that's a nice bonus for you. But, Doug will have them ready to play. There's no doubt about it. I just don't think, you can't continue to fade, down the stretch. We've actually lost 3 of 4. And it's like it kind of sneaks up on you because they're playing so dadgum hard. And you begin to think, man, we really lost 3 or 4? Yeah, we have. But we played with such winning effort, you almost don't even realize it. On the men's side, it's like it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, here we go again. The women, I think, know how to win. I don't think the men do. I think the women have some killer instinct in them. The difference in the two teams, I think, is that it's just clearly a lack of depth. If Doug Novak had 10 players to work with, I think you beat Kentucky. And you might even beat LSU. You probably beat Florida. And that's the thing, too, that I think, Doug Novak, regardless of what happens to him next, he has represented himself well. That guy is an outstanding coach, and I think wherever he ends up is going to be lucky to have him. I think he has demonstrated.
Thunderstruck. Adjective. Shocked and amazed by the power of fun on Carnival. Riding Bolt, the world's first roller coaster at sea. Brian got thunderstruck so hard, his 93-year-old grandmother felt it 3,000 miles away in Nebraska and immediately booked a cruise.
Hooray!
Get thunderstruck starting at $289. Carnival. Choose fun. Cruises are in U.S. dollars per person, double occupancy. Taxes, fees, and port expenses additional. Restrictions apply. Full details on carnival.com. Ships registry, Bahamas, Panama.
Finally, a bed that senses snoring and automatically responds. Meet the Ergo Smart Base from Tempur-Pedic, our first system that detects snoring, then automatically adjusts by raising the bed. Get your best sleep, all night, every night. For a limited time, save up to $500 on select adjustable mattress sets and experience the deep, undisturbed sleep of Tempur-Pedic. Get full offer details at TempurPedic.com.
That he is a guy that knows how to motivate players. All right, final segment of the show. We're going to talk a little college baseball. I know you guys are excited about this. I'm exceptionally excited about this. Brought to you our good friends at Portico. You know, Brooks Bryan helped us get to Omaha twice. He's involved with this group, which automatically kind of makes it, a winning group. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I like to associate with winners. Brooks Bryan is a winner. Kerry Pennebaker is a winner. You got guys that are involved in this process, in building this development, that love Mississippi State. So they're not going to come in here and just do some, half-handed job. They're going to come out here and deliver the goods because, number one, you're family to them too. And here's the thing too, most of those guys have a place at Portico. You think they're going to just build a dumpy neighborhood? Of course not. This is a fantastic development. Very easy to get to right off of Highway 12. You turn off of 82 on a 12. The very first right is Pat Station Road. You go through the stop sign, boom, there's Portico. It's great. I have said many times, if I was moving to Starkville now, this is where I'd move. You can start with a 2-bedroom, 2-bath home, go up to a 4-bedroom home. Phase 2 is under construction now. And here's the cool thing. You can have a say in picking your lot and your house plan. And everybody deserves a chance to do that once. Whether it be your primary residence or retirement home or just your ball game weekend retreat, Portico's got a place for you. Make Portico your next move. And I guess what I could do too is give you Brooks' phone number, right? How about that? If you need more information, you text my friend, your friend, Brooks Bryan, or give him a call, 601-416-8075. Again, that's 601-416-8075. That's what we do here. We share our phone numbers on the show, right? You're not going to get, the receptionist. You're not going to get, somebody's, voicemail. It's going to sit there and flash at them all day. We're giving you our friends' personal numbers because we're all family here. Let's talk baseball. And I think that's what Brooks would want us to talk about, right? Brooks is like me. Brooks is like a kid in a candy store or even like a kid before Christmas night. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and I even tweeted that out. It's like, hey, it's college baseball leave. I'm at home. I'm getting ready to open gifts. We should make opening day a holiday around here because college baseball means so much to us. I know Brooks Bryan probably slept very, 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 very unrestfully tonight. Matter of fact, as I'm recording this show, he is probably at walking the floor. Probably feels like he's playing tomorrow because it matters so much. Got a top 25 opponent coming to town, guys. Long Beach State. Now, let's give a quick review of last year's Long Beach State team. In the Big West, didn't play a lot of non-conference games. It was kind of a weird year. They're out west, so it's like, a lot of things they do are different than what the rest of the continental U.S. does. And I'm not being political. I'm just saying there's some parameters about what they had to deal with compared to many of the other teams in college baseball. But they got 28-15 overall last year, 26-14 in the conference. Again, not a lot of non-conference. Basically, a conference-only schedule last year for those guys. Pretty good record at home, 13-7, 15-8 on the road. No neutral site games. Not everybody can go to Arlington, right? So they open up and they actually lose the first 3 games of the year. They take 1 of 4 out in Honolulu against Hawaii. Wouldn't that be a fun trip? Go play baseball in Hawaii. We've done that. Hawaii Hilo would probably love to see us come back. That's an old Mississippi State baseball comment there. So then they win and they split the next 4, I guess. They win 2 of the next 4. And so it's like all of a sudden you look up and it's like, hey, we've already got 5 losses, kind of 8 games into the season. What's happening here? And that's Cal State Northridge, and the Matadors are a pretty good program too. Then they go to UC San Diego for 4. They split. They take 3 of those 4. That's out in La Jolla, California. Cal Poly was the next one. Another, again, a 4-game weekend. They split that. They play Pacific, the only non-Big West team on the schedule. They take 2 of 3 there. That's out in Stockton, California. They play UC Santa Barbara, who is kind of the class of the Big West. And that they're generally a team that people expect to do big things. And down the stretch last year, they were kind of a hipster team. UC Santa Barbara takes 2 of 4 from them. UC Irvine, the Anteaters, great California baseball program. Good nicknames in the Big West, too. The Matadors, Anteaters, Dirtbags, even though it's not officially the name. UC Irvine, traditionally a ranked team. They also split with them. They get UC Riverside on the road. They sweep all 4 games there, and they really get hot down the stretch. They win 3 of 4 against Bakersfield. And then they got Cal State Fullerton. And Cal State Fullerton has been a national power, out of the Big West. We had them as a regional here a couple of years ago. And how cool was that? It's like I'm such a nerd when it comes to college baseball. Like I love the fact that we get these West Coast teams at times that come to Dudy Noble Field, because I know that they will go back and carry our message about college baseball, about what it's like to play baseball here at Mississippi State. But Cal State Fullerton comes in. Of course, we beat them. They took 3 out of 4. Long Beach takes 3 out of 4 at Cal State Fullerton last year, and it still chaps my high that Cal State Fullerton won national championships before we did. UC Davis closed out the year with them with a 4-game sweep. So they end the year on a 6-game winning streak, and they won 8 of the last 9. And you can go back even farther than that and say, hey, it's really, was it 11 to 13? I mean, this is a team that closed out really well. They got really hot down the stretch. And a lot of that is because I think they found the pitching. And so this will be their first real non-conference test since all this mess started, with COVID. And so let's kind of look through this here. Long Beach is picked second in the West, second in their conference this year out in the Big West. The Anteaters are picked first. UC Santa Barbara's third. Cal State Fullerton's down to like 5th. So that's how it looks. Long Beach State expected to be a regional team. I don't think there's any question about that. They generally are, and they should be. So let's look at kind of what we have kind of coming in here. And so they have one of the better baseball names in the country in Rocco Pepe. Is there a better baseball name than that? Rocco Pepe? It sounds like he should be playing shortstop for the Dodgers. I love it. We didn't play last year, and he was a guy that was projected to start as a true freshman. He ends up getting, the hand injury, misses a year. He's coming back. They're excited about him. They think he's a future big leaguer. One of the guys you need to be familiar with is right fielder Chase Latrell. This guy's got 4 years in. He had the benefit of the COVID year. Led them in home runs last year, 8 dingers, 30 ribbies. Most statistical categories, he is near the top of the list. Really good player. First baseman Jonathan Long is a guy, too, that has some power. 5 dingers last year, 16 ribbies. Not a lot of runs scored, but that's the thing. They didn't need a lot of runs because of pitching. A veteran group for the most part, but they've got some guys that have some experience under their belt, but going to be kind of young on the infield. A couple freshmen out there. Rocco Pepe has never seen anything like he's going to see at Dudy Noble Field. Sit over there at the hot corner. All these right-handed hitters we got will tear you up. So it'll be interesting. How does he handle the big crowds? How do they handle the cold weather? We'll see. Sebastian Morello is a shortstop. Not a real power threat, but a guy that hit .316 last year in his first year of college action. But again, they got a couple 4-year juniors and 4-year sophomores. But the story of this team is going to be pitching. This is going to be the story. Luis Ramirez is a guy that has a major league grade on him. Basically 2 for 1 last year, 58 Ks and just 25 walks. That's not a great ratio. You'd like to be at least 3 for 1. Marquez Johnson's a guy, too, they're pretty high on, too. But the guy that's the dude is the closer, Devro Harrison. Many people believe he is one of the top prospects in the Big West Conference. A guy that's expected to take a pretty big Major League Baseball pick. Relievers don't usually get drafted really high, but he is a guy, too, that they think may be like a Kevin Kopps guy. They probably won't overuse him like Dave Van Horn used Kopps, but he is a guy that, whenever they get in trouble, they can go get him. Pretty astonishing guy. I see that Eric Sorensen picked him as the pitcher of the year over there. Interesting, right? They think Eddie Saldivar, second baseman, going to be the freshman of the year. And again, a young infield. How will they handle the turf of Dudy Noble? Notre Dame came in here last year rated as the number one defense in America, had the highest fielding percentage in college baseball, and came to Dudy Noble Field and booted the ball over the field. So we'll see how things progress with them. But this is a team that's got some dudes. They're going to be a team that's going to pitch it really, really well. We always talk about pitching being ahead of hitting this time of year. That's going to be the case. So go ahead and get ready for, the social media posts about, Mississippi State's offense is supposed to be so good. They didn't do anything against Long Beach State, because you're going to have some people that are casual fans of college baseball that aren't going to recognize the fact that Long Beach State is worthy of our respect. This is a team that's going to be in a regional. This is a team that's capable of coming in here winning a series against Mississippi State. Now, I'm ready to see the big dogs eat too. Kellum Clark is a guy that struggled a little bit in spring practice. We need to kind of get him going. But it's going to be interesting to see how these guys pitch against us. A lot of unknowns, I guess, in some respect. When you hadn't played a team in a couple of years, you watch a lot of film. There's a lot more film of us out there because we played a lot longer last year. We've got some guys, too, that have kind of shored some things up. But you listen, Long Beach State has some dudes. They got some dudes that are going to play pro ball for a long time. Eric Valenzuela's done a great job there with that program. And again, I think this is a team that you look at, you begin to think, okay, where do they rank out in the West? I would venture to say, when you begin to look at all the teams out there on the West Coast, this could be, if you wanted to break it up by region, this is probably one of the top 10 teams in West Coast baseball. They play a good brand of baseball in the state of California. It's one of the reasons Oregon State and Oregon and those teams recruit down there so heavily. It's not just a populous state. It is a state that's very, very baseball friendly. They play baseball year-round out there, kind of like they do here in the South. And so Pac-12 baseball has been a little bit of a disappointment the last couple of years. I mean, you have a few teams, obviously, like Stanford, that have been good, and Oregon State's always a team that really contends for some big things. But I think one of the reasons why is I think there are some Big West programs that are fully committed to baseball. And so as a result, they're beginning to win some of those recruiting battles against those Pac-12 schools. Big West is putting teams in the major league, putting players in the major leagues. So, we don't really have that down here. It's like, well, you got Conference USA, but they're still primarily a football league too. So I like the Big West Conference, and that's one of the things I love about having ESPN is like I can go cover a game at Dudy Noble Field. I can get home, write my story, and then I can go watch college baseball. So I watch a lot of West Coast baseball. They don't always have a lot of Big West games on, but when they do, let me tell you, it's worth your time to go watch it. It is. There are some Big West teams that are better than most of the Pac-12 teams. That's just kind of the reality of life. But this is a team that doesn't have a ton of power. It's a team that doesn't hit a whole lot. They're not a team that you look at and say, they have a lineup that really jumps off the page at you. I think their youth is going to be a bit of an issue this weekend. Again, remember we talked about all these freshmen that are coming in, many of which are seeing their first college action. Many of them have never played in the crowd like they're going to see even on Friday, which Friday will be the smallest crowd for us. But the reality of it is that Dudy Noble Field can be very overwhelming for people. Very overwhelming. They do lose a lot of regulars from last year. And if I was them, I'd probably want to play at home rather than have to go play a place like this. It's going to be a great experience for them. I don't know how the record goes. I expect us to win a series because I think we're going to pitch it pretty well too. As you saw, the rotation came out. Landon Sims on Friday, Casey Hunt on Saturday, and Cade Smith on Sunday. I'm really excited about Cade Smith. And KC had a great summer out in the Cape. Great. Not good, great. And, down the stretch last year, he was really good, for us. He gets a lot of swing and miss. Now, that doesn't mean people say, well, Steve, what about Jackson Fristow? What about Preston Johnson? What about Andrew Walling? All those guys are going to pitch. Scott Foxhall told me a week ago what he might do is, go 4 innings with this guy, 4 innings with that guy, go the next game for this one. It's a 70-pitch limit more than likely for the guys. You're not going to pitch guys deep into ball games in February, and certainly not in 40-degree weather. You're just not going to do it that way. And I do think the weather is a factor in this. Hitting, a 95-mile-an-hour fastball with aluminum bat is not a lot of fun. And when you got Landon Sims throwing that four-seamer in on the hands, it's even less fun. But looking, again, kind of this Long Beach State thing, we talked about Chase Latrell. There are a lot of people that think he's a guy that's going to go early in the draft. Hit 316, 56 hits, 6 doubles, 3 triples, and the 8 bombs there in the 30 ribbies. He is the leading returning offensive player for them. We mentioned Sebastian Morello. He's a guy that was largely a reserve last year. Played in about half the games. Hit 316, 24 hits, 11 doubles, 1 triple, no dingers, and the 13 RBI. But you begin to kind of look down this list and you begin to realize that they're a team that's probably in search of an identity offensively. When you've got guys like Chase Latrell, you likely can kind of pitch around him a little bit. I'm sure that's the scouting report that Scott Foxhall has shared. It's like, hey, they've got a lot of inexperience in this lineup. Let's attack those guys. Looking at their, look at Luis Ramirez from a year ago. I mean, it's like the numbers are not especially impressive at 4-4. Had the highest ERA of the starters at 4.27. But this is a guy that, again, a lot of people really like how he projects. They lose, their top 3 guys, from a year ago. So this is a guy, too, that's going to be kind of thrust into a bigger role for them. How does he handle it? You're going on the road, you're trying to show your guys you can be the guy. And so when we talk about, the questions we have, our questions are really rather simple, right? Who's going to play second? And I think that was really kind of some hyperbole. I think we've known since the day that he picked Mississippi State, R.J. Yeager was going to be there. Not just because he transferred in and he was promised a job, but because he earned it. He led the team in home runs in fall. So what do we do in center, right? What do we do on the weekend rotation? Well, everybody has that question. But there's a lot more questions with this Long Beach State team. When you lose 3 of your top 4 starters in the pitching rotation, you talk about having a next man up mentality. It's difficult to do, especially on the road. We talked about Devro Harrison, 1.57 ERA, 3.1 record last year, had 18 appearances, no starts, of course, and 10 saves. This is a guy, obviously, that gets it done. 34 and a third innings pitch, allowed 22 hits, 8 runs, 6 of them earned, 12 walks against 42 Ks. That's a really good ratio right there. 6 doubles and allowed us 1 home run. Opponents hit just 175 against him, and as you see, not a lot of extra base hits against him. Just 1 wild pitch, only hit 1 batter, and just a guy that a lot of people are excited about. We'll kind of see how things progress with him, but we'll certainly see him this weekend. You never know what game it's going to be. I mean, obviously, let's say they get into Sunday and start running out of pitching. Maybe you extend him a little bit, trying to get you a W. But this is a really good team that has some young players that will mature over the course of the season. And it's probably good to get them early. This could be one of those RPI net type building teams for us. You go beat these guys and then let them go win a bunch of games in the Big West. They're running interference for you and then driving up your net, thus putting you in contention to be a top 8 national seed. There are a lot of other people that are going to play, the Louisiana School of Math and Science this weekend, and that's not going to help them, other than the fact that it's going to give some false confidence and give some guys a chance to get some innings. I commend Chris Lemonis for taking this opportunity on a couple of years ago. We went out there, and that's when we kind of discovered Will Bednar was going to be a dude for us. He went out there and shut them down. It's the only game we won. We also lost Tanner Allen pretty much for the year. Diving catch attempt out there in right field. And that's the thing you begin to think about. If he doesn't get hurt in that ball game, he's not a member of your 2021 team because he would have been drafted in the first 5 rounds. The guy's the best hitter in college baseball. But now he gets hurt, and he hadn't really proven himself at his projected position. So people like to take a pass on him, and it lit a fire under him, and Mississippi State benefited from it. And so, but this is a team, they're going to come in here with a chip on their shoulder. And let's be honest too. We're the defending national champions. The mental edge should be ours. I'm sure they're telling their guys, hey, there's no pressure on you guys. It's all on them. No, there's no pressure on us. None. Zero. Maybe a little bit on Friday. We want to go out there and kind of get going. That's the thing too. Once you get through all the pomp and circumstance, and you got the ribbons up there, and there's some new ribbon boards, and there'll be some ceremony and that kind of stuff. And the next thing you know, you're playing baseball. And that's one of the reasons that I'm glad Landon Sims is going. Landon Sims has some dog in him. This is a guy that understands the mission. This is a guy that understands it's baseball. We're here to play baseball. The crowds are great. The facility is unparalleled. But it's the same game we've been playing our whole lives. Let's go out here and throw the baseball. Now, I don't expect high-scoring games. I think we're going to pitch it well, and I expect them to pitch it well too. So in many respects, it probably boils down to defense. How well can this, new look infield be for Long Beach State? We'll see. What about the Mississippi State lineup, right? That's what we're thinking. I'm not exactly sure the batting order. That's one of the things I'm interested to see. Does Hunter Hines DH? Does Slade offer DH? I think it kind of depends on matchups. I think you kind of move some guys around. And that's the one thing, too, when you're recruiting at the level Mississippi State is right now, you have options for things like DH. You don't have to just kind of roll with one guy. You can play matchups if you want to. You've got enough depth on the team, you can do that. But I think we all kind of know how the infield's going to look. I think Cam James starts out at third. Of course, Lane Forsythe at short, one of the elite defenders in college baseball. R.J. Yeager at second. And he is a converted shortstop. And he had some errors at Mercer. A lot of them were throwing errors, having to make that throw deep in the hole from the 6-hole. And, of course, Luke Hancock's back at first, and a more comfortable Luke Hancock. And then you've got one of the best catchers in the country behind the plate. So you feel really good about that. You got Brad Cumbus in left. Brad's a good defender. You got Kellum Clark in right. And, last year we kind of put him in the outfield just because he hadn't had a lot of reps. We're just trying to find a way to get him in the game. So we ended up DHing him. Well, now that he's in right field, it opens up that DH spot for you to get on the bat in the order. And then, who's your opening day center fielder? If I had to call today, I'm thinking it's Jess Davis. But that's not to say you're not going to see Bray this weekend too. I think this weekend, you'll play a lot of guys, but of course not at the expense of losing a ball game. I think Jess Davis is probably the best defender in the outfield among the entire lineup. What the question is going to be is how's he going to hit? And this is a guy too that's kind of struggled since he's get on campus to hit the baseball. So what does that mean? You're kind of moving forward. Who hits leadoff? And we talk about Luke Hancock. I mean, I don't know that I would want him leading off because there's really kind of a lack of speed there. I like him as a two-hole hitter. You can hit and run with him. He's not going to strike out much. You can steal bases when he's at the plate because he can protect the runner. He can foul a pitch off if he needs to. One of the most difficult players in the country to strike out. Does Cam James stay in a three-hole? Maybe. I don't see Cam as a leadoff guy, but he could be. And so those are the questions that I've kind of got in my mind. Who's going to be the dude? Jess Davis is a guy that can bunt a little bit too. Does that make him a guy that you want to put at the top of the order? He's pretty fleet-footed. Or do you put him in the 9-hole to give you another speed option down there? That way if the 9-hole guy reaches, the next thing you know, the leadoff guy can move a guy around. You've got good speed on the bases. So all of that is rather interesting to me. And as closely as we follow all this, Chris Lemonis is a guy that does it his way. It's like you never know from one game to the next who's going to be in the order. Last year you had, Tanner Leggett was a guy that played 3 different positions for us. And how important was that late? How important was it that all those guys had an opportunity to play during the season and play meaningful baseball? So when the season, when the postseason got here, those guys weren't, kind of bowing down in the moment. These are guys that kind of understood what's expected, and they understand the standard at Mississippi State. I think that's a big part of things. It's one thing to be overwhelmed by that stuff. I just don't think we are. I think we have guys, because of the fact that they get meaningful playing time when it matters most, that they are a team that when their numbers are called upon, they're ready to go. Looking at the scrimmage stats on the pitching side of things for Mississippi State, we hadn't talked about this. And again, I don't read a lot into this stuff, because you're experimenting a little bit. You're trying to get you're probably throwing your change up a lot more because you're trying to make sure you can throw it for strikes. But in the preseason, there's 8 scrimmages, and here's what we've looked at. Brandon Smith, 3 appearances, 8 2/3 of an inning, allowed 6 hits, struck out 6, walked 6, hit 1, allowed 3 runs, all those unearned. That walks number's got to get better. Mikey Tepper, who was the guy that we think may be in line to be the closer, 1 game, 2/3 of an inning pitched, 2 hits, 1 walk, no Ks. Cade Smith, your Sunday starter, and I think he wrapped that up last weekend. Cade Smith, 3 games, 9.2 innings pitched, 7 hits, 12 strikeouts, 3 walks. Those 12 Ks among the best on the team for this segment. Jackson Fristow, same number of games and innings, allows just 4 hits, 8 Ks, 5 walks. So control not quite there. But again, I would not be opposed to putting Jackson out there. I know last year down the stretch he kind of hit a wall. But I think that he's a guy you can count on. Your leading strikeout guy, and of course you didn't throw Landon Sims a whole lot. You want to know why Casey Hunt is pitching on Saturday? Here's why. 3 games, 8.2 innings pitched, 7 hits allowed, 15 Ks, 2 walks. That dog will hunt right there. A 1.04 ERA, allowed just 1 run in 3 appearances, but 15 Ks. That's why he's pitching on Saturday. Because a lot of people are like, Steve, what's going on? No, that's why. Cam Teller, of course, still a left-handed reliever for us. 4 games, 5.2 innings pitch, allowed 4 hits, 6 Ks, 2 walks, a hit by pitch, 1 earned run, 1.59 for him. Pico Collins, a guy that we expect to contribute in midweek. 3 games, 8.1 innings pitched, 5 hits, 11 Ks, and 1 walk. That dog will hunt too, right? That'll get it done. Andrew Walling, this is the thing. Well, Steve, I don't understand. He signed here to be a starter. Here's your numbers. You see the numbers and you kind of understand it. Andrew Walling, 3 games, 7.1 innings pitched, 4 hits, 9 Ks, 10 walks. The control factor is still an issue. And remember, I go back to this. Remember, people are like, oh, yeah, well, the talk is that we're going to have Andrew Walling on Saturday as the starter, and that was so incredibly premature it wasn't fair to the kid. Cole Cheatham, 3.1 innings pitched in 3 appearances, 3 hits, 4 Ks, 7 walks. Preston Johnson, 12 Ks for him, 9 walks, allowed 7 hits, 4 earned runs. And again, you start looking at the numbers. You start looking at this and say, okay, you know what Landon Sims has got, and then you've got Cade Smith with 12 Ks and Casey Hunt with 15, and you start beginning to ask yourself, okay, well now it makes sense. Landon Sims only won a couple times, 3 innings apiece, 11 Ks, 4 walks, allowed 3 runs, which is rare for him. Brooks Auger is a guy they're really high on for the future. Don't expect him to be, a weekend contributor at this point, but he's a guy that may factor in midweek. Parker Sinnette is a guy that, again, is going to have to take a jump this year. 2 appearances for him, 10 Ks, 1 walk. That'll work. Stone Simmons, a guy that could factor in, too, as a long reliever for us. We expect that to be the case. Just a couple of appearances, 3 hits, a couple of Ks, 3 walks. So we're getting a little bit farther down the list here. Jack Walker's a guy, too, that had a really good scrimmage early and then got shelled the next time. He's going to be fine. We don't expect him to make a major contribution this year. If we get anything from him this year, we're happy. We know that the best baseball for him is ahead of him. 3 appearances, 7 innings pitched, 13 hits, which is the most on the team, and that's to be expected. You got a freshman. 9 Ks, 5 walks. So you got some numbers there. But the reality of it is like, it's not hard to figure out. Baseball's a numbers game. You get guys out that you get to pitch a lot more. You get hits, you get to stay around a little bit longer. I mean, it's like you start looking at this stuff and it starts making good sense. it's really easy to say, well, I read on a message board this. We got guys that we cover college baseball year round at genespage.com. We go to the fall scrimmages, we go to the preseason scrimmages, we go to the camps, we do all kind of stuff like that. And I think it's important to understand, the numbers are compiled over time, and even though they're not official numbers, we may give a guy a hit when Chris Lemonis gives him, reaching on an error because you want it to be a little bit cleaner. But the reality of it is that, we got the numbers. You got the numbers to kind of back it up. And all of a sudden, when you go through these numbers, you start thinking, well, now it makes perfect sense. And just to kind of give you some velo to go with that too, Fristow topping out at 93, Pico Conan at 89, Stone Simmons at 92, Taylor Montiel at 88, Drew Talley at 92, Cam Tuller at 88, Mikey Tepper at 96. So you got some guys out there bringing it. You do. There's no doubt about it. So, but I'm excited, man. I'm ready to go. I'm eager to see, like the first time that I see the official account tweet out the lineup, it's going to feel real. You know what I'm saying? It's like we've all just been floating on this pink cloud of winning an NFL championship. It's almost like, hey, let's not even play college baseball anymore. Let's just go out on top. I'm ready to go win another one. And I think this team is capable of doing that. I'm going to give you the hot take right now. I don't really think it's a hot take. State makes Omaha again this year for the 4th consecutive year. And then from there, we'll see how the matchups break loose. But this is going to be a very offensive league this year. And I've told you guys when we picked the West, I think the fact that State has some pitching, I think is a separator in the West. We just got to be able to survive those Sunday games. There's going to be a lot of teams out there like Arkansas, LSU, and Ole Miss are going to put up some video game type numbers on Sundays because they're going to have bad pitching. If I'm going to try Cade Smith out there against those guys, I think I've got a good shot. I think I've got a shot. I think I got a shot to win or sweep a series because I think Cade Smith's going to be a dude for us this year. All right, that's it for today. Thank you guys so much. I look forward to being back with you on Monday. Hopefully we're celebrating a nice series win and hopefully a sweep. I wouldn't want to call that today, but, we certainly could. I do think, though, a sweep would be a very loud statement considering this Long Beach State team is expected to be an NCAA tournament team and a team that contends for the Big West Championship. So, again, they're going to have some dudes. I just don't know they got enough of them. I think their youth and inexperience and the fact that guys are being thrust into different roles and leadership roles for the first time, there will be some growing pains. And again, I'm glad we get them early. They are a team, once they get into their league, it's going to be very, very good. And I think that we benefit from that. Just got to go win the series. Until next time, let's all live our lives in a way we make more friends than enemies, and people can see a difference in the way we live.
Now is the perfect time to work at Amazon. They are offering hourly jobs with great pay and even include a large sign-on bonus. No matter where you're at in the job market, you can select from a variety of available roles in your area. Join an exciting work environment and be part of a team that brings smiles to customers every day. To find the job that works for you and some extra cash, go to amazon.com/apply. That's amazon.com/apply. Amazon is proud to be an equal opportunity employer.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you 24/7 with supplies and solutions for every industry and access to product specialists ready to help. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.